Imagine a game of chess, two players, each with a goal checkmate. Every move is a calculation, a prediction of the opponent's response. This is strategic thinking, the essence of our daily lives. We make choices anticipating the reactions of others. This intricate dance of decision and consequence, of strategy and response, is the realm of game theory. Game theory, however, extends far beyond the confines of board games. It's a powerful lens through which we can understand the complex interplay of human behavior. From economics and politics to biology and even love, game theory offers a framework to analyze and predict how individuals interact. It reveals the invisible rules governing our social interactions. These rules, often unspoken and subconscious, shape the choices we make and the outcomes we experience. By understanding these rules, we gain a deeper understanding of why people behave the way they do. This journey into game theory will be an exciting exploration of the strategic thinking that underpins our world. From simple interactions to complex global scenarios, we'll uncover the hidden logic that drives human behavior. Join me, and together we'll unlock the secrets of this fascinating field. At its core, game theory is a study of strategic decision-making. It delves into situations where the choices of one individual or entity directly impact the outcomes of others. These interactions, governed by self-interest and strategic calculations, create a complex web of interconnected decisions and consequences. Think of it as a grand, intricate dance where each participant's steps are influenced by the anticipated moves of others. Economists use game theory to model market competition, understanding how businesses strategize pricing and production. Political scientists apply it to decode international relations, predicting the moves of nations in a global chess match. The beauty of game theory lies in its versatility. It transcends disciplinary boundaries, offering insights into diverse fields. Evolutionary biologists use it to explain the emergence of cooperation in nature. Psychologists employ it to understand social dilemmas and the dynamics of trust. By breaking down complex interactions into simpler models, game theory allows us to see patterns and predict outcomes. It provides a framework for understanding the strategic choices that shape our world. In the next sections, we'll delve deeper into the principles and applications of this powerful tool. Get ready to see the world through the lens of strategic thinking. From the tense negotiations of a high-stakes poker game to the delicate balance of power in international relations, game theory's reach is vast. It's a tool that can be applied to understand everything from the evolution of cooperation among animals to the dynamics of online auctions. Imagine a group of animals competing for limited resources. Each individual must decide whether to fight for their share or cooperate with others. Game theory helps us understand how these strategic choices, driven by survival instincts, can lead to the emergence of cooperative behaviors over time. On a global scale, consider the complexities of international climate change negotiations. Each nation acts in its own self-interest, yet the collective outcome depends on their ability to cooperate. Game theory provides a framework for understanding the incentives at play and the potential for reaching agreements that benefit all parties. Whether we're analyzing the behavior of corporations, predicting the outcome of elections, or understanding the spread of infectious diseases, game theory offers a powerful lens. It allows us to move beyond intuition and gut feelings, providing a rigorous framework for analyzing strategic interactions and predicting their consequences. Join me as we continue our exploration of this fascinating field and uncover the hidden logic that governs our world. In the theatre of game theory, the stage is set with a cast of players, each driven by their own motives and desires. These players can be individuals, corporations, nations, or even abstract entities like computer algorithms. Their interactions, the heart of the drama, revolve around choices and their consequences. Each player is presented with a set of possible actions, a strategic menu from which they must choose. These choices, however, are not made in isolation. The outcome of one player's decision hinges on the actions taken by others. This interdependence creates a complex web of strategic considerations, a delicate dance of action and reaction. To understand the motivations of our players, we introduce the concept of payoffs. A payoff represents the reward or penalty associated with a particular outcome for a specific player. These payoffs can be tangible, like monetary gains or losses, or intangible, such as social status or emotional satisfaction. The payoffs serve as the driving force behind strategic decision-making. Players, assumed to be rational beings in our theoretical world, aim to maximize their own payoffs. They evaluate the potential outcomes of their actions, anticipating the moves of others, always striving to make the choice that yields the most favorable result. Perhaps the most iconic illustration of game theory's power is the prisoner's dilemma. This simple yet profound scenario unveils the tension between individual self-interest and collective well-being. It demonstrates how rational choices made in isolation can lead to suboptimal outcomes for all parties involved. Imagine two suspects apprehended for a crime. They are held in separate cells, unable to communicate with each other. The authorities offer each prisoner a deal. Confess to the crime and implicate your accomplice, or remain silent. The consequences of their choices depend on the actions of the other prisoner, creating a strategic quandary. If both prisoners choose to cooperate and remain silent, they each receive a lighter sentence, say 1 year in prison. However, if one prisoner betrays the other by confessing while the other stays silent, the betrayer goes free, while the silent one receives a harsher sentence, say 5 years. If both prisoners choose to betray each other, they both receive a moderate sentence, say 3 years. The dilemma lies in the fact that regardless of what the other prisoner does, each individual is always better off betraying their accomplice. If the accomplice stays silent, betraying them leads to freedom instead of a 1 year sentence. If the accomplice confesses, betraying them leads to a 3 year sentence instead of a 5 year sentence. In the intricate dance of game theory, where players strategize and anticipate each other's moves, the concept of Nash equilibrium emerges as a beacon of stability. Named after mathematician John Nash, this concept describes a state of balance where no player can improve their own outcome by unilaterally changing their strategy, assuming the other player's strategies remain unchanged. Imagine a game of rock, paper, scissors. There is no single dominant strategy that guarantees victory. If one player were to consistently choose rock, for instance, the opponent could exploit this predictability by choosing paper. The Nash equilibrium in this game lies in the absence of a predictable pattern, with each player randomly choosing between the three options with equal probability. In more complex games, finding the Nash equilibrium can involve intricate calculations and strategic considerations. However, the underlying principle remains the same. It represents a state where each player's strategy is the best possible response to the strategies chosen by the others. The significance of Nash equilibrium lies in its ability to predict stable outcomes in strategic interactions. It provides a framework for understanding why certain patterns of behavior emerge in markets, negotiations, and even biological systems. By identifying the Nash equilibrium, we can gain insights into the strategic forces that shape the world around us. While traditional game theory often assumes perfectly rational players motivated solely by self-interest, the real world is a messier place. Human beings, with all their complexities and contradictions, don't always behave in predictable, utility-maximizing ways. Emotions, social norms, and cognitive biases can color our judgments and lead us down paths that deviate from the dictates of pure rationality. Consider the ultimatum game, where one player proposes a division of a sum of money, and the other player can either accept or reject the offer. If the second player rejects, both players receive nothing. Rationality dictates that the second player should accept any offer, however small, as it's better than nothing. However, in experiments, people often reject unfair offers, even at their own expense, driven by a sense of fairness or a desire to punish perceived greed. This is where behavioral game theory comes into play, enriching the classical models by incorporating insights from psychology and experimental economics. It acknowledges that human beings are not always perfectly rational calculators, but rather complex social creatures influenced by a myriad of factors. By accounting for these human elements, behavioral game theory provides a more nuanced and realistic understanding of strategic decision-making. It helps us to explain seemingly irrational behavior and to develop more effective strategies for cooperation, negotiation, and conflict resolution. Step into the bustling world of economics, a seemingly chaotic dance of buyers and sellers, each driven by their own desires and motivations. It's a world of competition, collaboration, and constant adaptation, where the principles of game theory find fertile ground. From the smallest market stalls to the global stock exchanges, the invisible hand of strategic interaction shapes the flow of goods, services, and wealth. Imagine a marketplace where vendors hawk their wares, each striving to attract customers and maximize their profits. They must decide on the prices for their goods, considering the costs of production, the prices set by competitors, and the willingness of consumers to pay. This intricate interplay of strategic choices determines the equilibrium price and quantity for each product, a delicate balance point where supply meets demand. Game theory provides a powerful lens for understanding how markets function, both in theory and in practice. It helps us to analyze the behavior of firms, consumers, and workers, predicting how they will respond to changes in market conditions, government policies, and technological innovations. For example, game theory can shed light on the dynamics of competition between businesses. It can explain why companies might engage in price wars, form cartels to manipulate prices, or invest heavily in research and development to gain a competitive edge. By understanding these strategic interactions, we can develop policies that promote fair competition and efficient market outcomes. Imagine a lush pasture shared by several shepherds, each tending to their flock. The pasture, a common resource freely available to all, can sustain a limited number of animals before becoming overgrazed and degraded. Each shepherd, acting rationally in their self-interest, is tempted to increase the size of their flock to maximize their profits. However, as each shepherd adds more animals to the commons, the pasture inevitably suffers. The grass is depleted, the soil erodes, and eventually the once abundant resource is destroyed, leaving all the shepherds worse off in the long run. This ecological parable, known as the tragedy of the commons, illustrates a fundamental challenge in economics and social dynamics: how to manage shared resources in a way that balances individual self-interest with collective well-being. Game theory provides a framework for understanding this dilemma. It shows how rational individuals acting independently can deplete a shared resource even when it's not in their collective interest to do so. Each individual reasons that their own impact on the resource is negligible, while the benefits of overconsumption accrue directly to them. The tragedy of the commons has far-reaching implications, extending beyond environmental issues to encompass a wide range of social dilemmas. It highlights the potential pitfalls of unregulated competition for shared resources, whether those resources are natural, economic, or social. Step into the exhilarating world of auctions, where bidders engage in a strategic dance of bids and counterbids, vying for the prize of acquiring a valuable object or service. From the hushed bidding wars of art auctions to the lightning-fast transactions of online marketplaces, auctions provide a fascinating glimpse into the dynamics of strategic decision-making. Game theory has played a pivotal role in understanding and designing auctions, transforming them from games of chance into sophisticated mechanisms for price discovery and resource allocation. By carefully structuring the rules of the game, auctioneers can influence the behavior of bidders, encouraging competition and ensuring that the object or service goes to the party who values it most. Consider the different types of auctions commonly employed. English auctions, where bids ascend openly until only one bidder remains. Dutch auctions, where the price starts high and descends until a bidder accepts. And sealed bid auctions, where bidders submit their bids privately without knowing the bids of others. Each auction format has its own strategic nuances, and game theory helps us to understand which format is most suitable for different situations. For example, English auctions are often used for unique items where bidders may have different valuations, while Dutch auctions are commonly employed for perishable goods that need to be sold quickly. In the realm of business, politics, and even personal relationships, negotiation stands as a cornerstone of human interaction. It's the art of finding mutually acceptable agreements, resolving conflicts, and forging collaborations. Whether we're negotiating a salary, hammering out a trade deal, or simply deciding where to have dinner with friends, the principles of game theory can help us to navigate these complex social interactions with greater skill and confidence. Game theory provides a framework for understanding the strategic interplay of proposals, counter-proposals, threats, and promises that characterize negotiations. It encourages us to think several steps ahead, anticipating the responses of our counterparts and crafting strategies that maximize our chances of achieving a favorable outcome. One of the key insights from game theory is the importance of understanding the incentives and constraints faced by all parties involved in a negotiation. By putting ourselves in the shoes of our counterparts, we can better anticipate their moves and identify potential areas of agreement and conflict. Another important concept is the BITNA, or best alternative to a negotiated agreement. This represents the most advantageous course of action a party can take if negotiations break down. A strong BATNA provides leverage in a negotiation, as it allows a party to walk away from the table if the terms are not favorable. In the unforgiving arena of evolution, where the drive to survive and reproduce reigns supreme, the emergence of cooperation might seem like a puzzling paradox. After all, shouldn't natural selection favor the ruthless pursuit of self-interest, even at the expense of others? Yet throughout the tapestry of life, from the intricate dance of genes within a cell to the complex social structures of primate societies, cooperation flourishes, defying the simplistic narrative of survival of the fittest. Game theory, in its quest to unravel the strategic logic of interactions, offers a compelling explanation for this apparent paradox. It reveals how cooperation, even among self-interested individuals, can emerge and persist under certain conditions, ultimately enhancing the fitness of the group as a whole. Imagine a population of organisms, each programmed with a set of strategies for interacting with others. Some strategies might be inherently selfish, exploiting others for personal gain. Others might be more altruistic, incurring a cost to themselves to benefit others. Initially, selfish strategies might seem to have the upper hand as they reap immediate rewards. However, in a world of repeated interactions where individuals encounter each other again and again, the dynamics of the game change. Selfish strategies, while initially successful, tend to undermine the very conditions that allow them to thrive. They create an environment of distrust and retaliation, where cooperation becomes increasingly difficult. To understand how cooperation can gain a foothold in a world seemingly dominated by self-interest, let's revisit the classic prisoner's dilemma, but with a twist. Instead of a single interaction, imagine the two prisoners playing the game repeatedly, knowing that their choices in each round will influence the future behavior of their counterpart. This repeated game is known as the iterated prisoner's dilemma, and it reveals a profound shift in the strategic landscape. In the single-shot prisoner's dilemma, betrayal is the dominant strategy, as it yields the best outcome regardless of the other player's choice. However, in the iterated version, the calculus of self-interest becomes more nuanced. Players now have the opportunity to build reputations, learn from past interactions, and adjust their strategies accordingly. One of the most successful strategies in the iterated prisoner's dilemma is known as tit for tat. A player using this strategy begins by cooperating and then simply mirrors the opponent's previous move. If the opponent cooperated in the previous round, the tit-for-tat player cooperates again. If the opponent betrayed in the previous round, the tit-for-tat player retaliates by betraying as well. Tit-for-tat embodies a powerful combination of qualities. It is nice, starts by cooperating. Retaliatory, punishes defection. Forgiving, returns to cooperation after a single act of cooperation from the opponent. And clear, its strategy is easy to understand. These qualities allow it to establish a reputation for trustworthiness, deterring exploitation and fostering cooperation. Section 3. Evolutionary Game Theory: Survival of the Fittest Strategies. While the iterated prisoner's dilemma provides valuable insights into the dynamics of cooperation, the real world is far more complex. Interactions occur not just between two individuals, but within populations of diverse individuals, each employing different strategies. To capture this complexity, game theorists turn to the principles of evolution, giving rise to the field of evolutionary game theory. Evolutionary game theory views the competition between strategies as analogous to the competition between genes in natural selection. Strategies that lead to higher payoffs in terms of survival and reproduction are more likely to spread within a population, just as beneficial genes are more likely to be passed on to future generations. One of the key concepts in evolutionary game theory is the notion of an evolutionary stable strategy, or ESS. An ESS is a strategy that, once it becomes common in a population, cannot be invaded by any alternative strategy. In other words, if most individuals in a population adopt an ESS, no mutant strategy can do better and spread. The concept of an ESS helps us to understand why certain cooperative strategies persist in nature, even in the face of potential exploitation. For example, in many animal societies, individuals engage in costly behaviors like alarm calling, where they alert others to the presence of a predator, putting themselves at risk in the process. Section 4. Cooperation in nature, from ants to altruism. The natural world is replete with breathtaking examples of cooperation, from the intricate symbiosis between fungi and algae in lichens, to the coordinated hunting strategies of wolves. Evolutionary game theory provides a powerful lens for understanding these cooperative behaviors, revealing the strategic logic that underpins them. Consider the humble ant, a creature renowned for its industriousness and social organization. Ant colonies are marvels of cooperation, with individuals specializing in different tasks, such as foraging for food, caring for the brood, and defending the nest. This division of labor, coupled with sophisticated communication systems, allows ant colonies to thrive in a wide range of environments. From an evolutionary game theory perspective, The success of ant colonies can be attributed to the fact that individual ants are genetically predisposed to cooperate with their nest mates. Because all the ants in a colony are closely related, they share a common genetic interest in the colony's survival and reproduction. Another fascinating example of cooperation in nature is the phenomenon of altruism, where individuals behave in ways that benefit others, even at a cost to themselves. For example, some species of birds engage in cooperative breeding, where non-breeding individuals help to raise the offspring of others. Section 5. The future of cooperation, challenges and opportunities. As we navigate an increasingly interconnected and complex world, understanding the principles of cooperation becomes ever more crucial. From tackling global challenges like climate change and pandemics to fostering economic development and social harmony, our ability to cooperate effectively will shape the future of humanity. Game theory, with its insights into the strategic logic of interactions, offers valuable guidance for promoting cooperation in a variety of contexts. It highlights the importance of building trust, establishing clear rules and norms, and designing institutions that incentivize cooperative behavior. However, the path to cooperation is not without its challenges. The temptation to free ride on the efforts of others, the allure of short-term gains over long-term sustainability, and the divisive forces of prejudice and mistrust can all undermine cooperative endeavors. Despite these challenges, there is reason for optimism. Human beings are remarkably adept at forging cooperative bonds even across cultural and ideological divides. From the local to the global level, countless examples of collaboration and collective action demonstrate our capacity for working together to achieve common goals. Genesis of a theory, the seeds of strategic thought. While game theory, as we know it today, emerged as a distinct field of study in the mid-20th century, the seeds of strategic thinking were sown much earlier. History whispers tales of military strategists, political theorists, and even philosophers who grappled with the complexities of decision-making in the face of uncertainty and conflicting interests. Ancient Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu, in his timeless treatise The Art of War, emphasized the importance of deception, intelligence gathering, and understanding the motivations of one's enemies. Centuries later, Italian diplomat and philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, in his controversial work The Prince, offered a pragmatic if ruthless guide to political power, stressing the need for cunning, strategic alliances, and a willingness to use any means necessary to achieve one's goals. These early thinkers, though operating without the formal language of game theory, intuitively grasped the importance of strategic considerations in shaping human affairs. They recognized that in any interaction where multiple actors pursue their own objectives, the outcome for each depends not only on their own actions, but also on the actions and reactions of others. However, it wasn't until the 20th century, amidst the tumultuous backdrop of World War II, that game theory truly blossomed as a rigorous mathematical discipline. The convergence of brilliant minds driven by the need to understand and outmaneuver adversaries in war and peace laid the foundation for this revolutionary field of study. At the forefront of this intellectual revolution stood John von Neumann, a Hungarian-American mathematician of unparalleled brilliance. A polymath whose genius touched upon fields as diverse as quantum mechanics, computer science, and economics, von Neumann is widely regarded as one of the founding fathers of game theory. In 1944, together with economist Oscar Morgenstern, von Neumann published his magnum opus Theory of Games and Economic Behavior, a groundbreaking work that laid the mathematical foundation for game theory and transformed the way we think about strategic decision-making. Von Neumann's key insight was to apply the tools of mathematics, particularly probability theory and set theory, to analyze games of strategy. He recognized that even seemingly complex interactions involving multiple players with conflicting interests could be modeled as mathematical games with defined rules, possible actions, and payoffs associated with different outcomes. This formalization of strategic thinking allowed for a level of rigor and precision previously unattainable. It enabled researchers to identify optimal strategies, predict the behavior of rational actors, and design mechanisms to promote cooperation or achieve desired outcomes in a wide range of scenarios. Von Neumann's work had a profound impact not only on economics, where it revolutionized the study of market competition, but also on fields as diverse as political science, biology, and computer science, laying the groundwork for the development of artificial intelligence and the analysis of complex systems. Since its inception, game theory has transcended its academic origins to become an indispensable tool for understanding and navigating the complexities of human interaction. From boardrooms to battlefields, from courtrooms to the corridors of power, its principles have found application in diverse fields, shaping decisions and influencing outcomes. In economics, game theory has become a cornerstone of microeconomic analysis, providing insights into the behavior of firms in competitive markets, the dynamics of auctions and negotiations, and the design of mechanisms to allocate resources efficiently. Political scientists have embraced game theory to analyze international relations, model the behavior of political actors, and understand the dynamics of conflict and cooperation between nations. The classic game of chicken, for example, has been used to illustrate the dangers of brinkmanship in international crises. Beyond these traditional domains, game theory has found fertile ground in fields as diverse as evolutionary biology, where it helps explain the emergence of cooperation in nature, and psychology, where it sheds light on social dilemmas and the dynamics of trust and reciprocity. The legacy of game theory lies not just in its ability to explain past behavior, but also in its power to shape future outcomes. By understanding the strategic forces at play in any given situation, we can make more informed decisions, design institutions that promote cooperation, and navigate the complexities of our interconnected world with greater clarity and purpose. As we conclude our exploration of game theory, we find ourselves marveling at its elegance and its power. From the simple interactions of the prisoner's dilemma to the intricate dance of genes in evolutionary biology, game theory has illuminated the hidden logic that governs our world. It has given us a framework for understanding how rational individuals make decisions in the face of uncertainty, how cooperation can emerge even in the most competitive environments, and how the choices we make today shape the world we will inherit tomorrow. Like a symphony, game theory is a tapestry of interconnected ideas, each building upon the other to create a harmonious whole. The concept of Nash equilibrium, with its elegant balance of strategic forces, reveals the stable points in a sea of possible outcomes. The iterated prisoner's dilemma demonstrates how trust and cooperation can blossom even in the shadow of self-interest. And evolutionary game theory, with its insights into the survival of the fittest strategies, helps us understand how cooperation has become so deeply woven into the fabric of life. But game theory is more than just a theoretical framework. It is a living, breathing discipline, constantly evolving to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world. As we grapple with global issues like climate change, pandemics, and economic inequality, game theory offers valuable insights into the strategic dilemmas we face and the potential pathways to cooperation and collective action. As we peer into the future, We see a world brimming with both challenges and opportunities. The rise of artificial intelligence, the increasing interconnectedness of global systems, and the growing urgency of addressing existential threats like climate change demand new ways of thinking and acting. Game theory, with its emphasis on strategic thinking, adaptability, and the search for win-win solutions, is uniquely poised to guide us through this complex and uncertain terrain. Imagine a world where policymakers use game theory to design international agreements that incentivize countries to reduce their carbon emissions, or where urban planners use it to optimize traffic flow, reduce congestion, and create more livable cities, or where healthcare professionals use it to model the spread of infectious diseases and develop more effective strategies for containment and treatment. The possibilities are as vast as our imagination. As we continue to refine and expand the tools of game theory, incorporating insights from fields like behavioral economics, psychology, and computer science, we unlock its full potential to address the pressing challenges of our time. The journey into the world of game theory is a journey into the heart of human strategic thinking. It is a journey that challenges our assumptions, expands our perspectives, and empowers us to make more informed decisions in a world where the choices we make have never mattered more. As we move forward, let us embrace the wisdom of game theory, not as a crystal ball to predict the future, but as a compass to guide us towards a more cooperative, sustainable, and prosperous world for all.